You're sitting at a family dinner. These are people you've known your entire life. Your mother who taught you to ride a bike. Your brother who shared a room with you for 15 years. But as you look around the table, something chilling happens. They feel like complete strangers. Their voices sound foreign. Their faces seem different. And for a terrifying moment, you wonder if you're losing your mind. You're not. What you're experiencing has a name, and it's happening to millions of people right now. Sign 1. Your conversations feel scripted. Sarah noticed it first with her best friend Emma. After 20 years of friendship, their coffee meetups felt like business transactions. Emma would ask the same surface questions. How's work? How's the family? But when Sarah tried to go deeper, to share her real struggles with anxiety, Emma's eyes would glaze over. She'd nod at the right moments, make sympathetic sounds, but Sarah could feel the emptiness behind it. Emma wasn't listening. She was performing. This isn't normal friendship evolution. When someone close to you starts responding like a chatbot, something deeper is happening. But what? Sign 2. They remember details about strangers better than you. Michael's wife Jessica could tell you everything about her co-worker's divorce, her neighbor's promotion, even her hairdresser's vacation plans. But she forgot Michael's important presentation, missed his doctor's appointment, couldn't remember the name of his childhood dog when he brought it up during therapy. Jessica's emotional hard drive had limited space, and Michael wasn't taking up any of it. Her brain was cataloging information about people who meant nothing to her, while deleting memories of the person she promised to love forever. When someone's mental energy flows towards strangers while you become invisible, you're witnessing something psychological, professionals call emotional redirection. And it's the second sign that the person you once knew is becoming a stranger. If you're recognizing these patterns, hit subscribe. These insights could save you years of confusion and pain. Sign 3. Their empathy has geographic boundaries. David's brother Mark would cry watching news stories about hurricanes affecting people thousands of miles away. He'd donate money to earthquake victims, volunteer for charity drives, post heartfelt messages about helping strangers. But when David lost his job and was facing eviction, Mark suggested he should have been more financially responsible. Mark's compassion worked like a spotlight with a very specific range. It illuminated distant suffering beautifully, but created darkness for the people closest to him. This selective empathy isn't accidental. When someone can feel deep emotion for strangers but offers you cold logic, they're not becoming more compassionate. They're becoming more calculating. But this next sign reveals something even more disturbing. Sign 4. They study your reactions like a scientist. Rebecca's mother Linda had developed an unsettling habit. During every conversation, Rebecca noticed Linda's eyes weren't looking at her face the way mothers normally do. Linda was scanning, watching for micro-expressions, testing different words, and watching Rebecca flinch or smile. One day, Rebecca caught Linda taking mental notes when Rebecca mentioned feeling overwhelmed at work. Linda's response wasn't comfort, it was curiosity. She asked probing questions, not to help, but to map Rebecca's vulnerabilities. Later that week, during an argument, Linda used that exact overwhelm against Rebecca, suggesting she was too unstable to make good decisions. Linda had stopped being Rebecca's mother and become her researcher. When someone close to you starts treating your emotions like data to be collected and weaponized, you're not dealing with a stranger, you're dealing with someone who's chosen to become one. The most terrifying part, they're often not consciously aware they're doing it. This pattern is creating an epidemic of psychological orphans, people surrounded by family and friends who no longer recognize them as human. If these signs are hitting close to home, subscribe now. Understanding these patterns is your first line of defense. Sign 5. They've rewritten your shared history. Tom noticed his father James had started telling stories about Tom's childhood that never happened. According to James, Tom was always difficult, always ungrateful, always causing problems. But Tom's sister confirmed these stories were fabrications. James wasn't losing his memory, he was editing it, creating a narrative where Tom deserved whatever treatment he received now. When someone rewrites your past, they're justifying their future behavior toward you. This historical revision isn't random, it's psychological groundwork. Sign 6. Their emotional responses are delayed or exaggerated. When Lisa told her sister Marie about her miscarriage, Marie's reaction came 3 seconds too late and felt like a performance in a high school play. Too much expression, wrong timing, hollow words. But when Marie's favorite TV show got cancelled, her disappointment was immediate and genuine. Marie's emotional responses had become inversely proportional to her actual connection with the recipient. The further away someone was from her heart, the more dramatic her performed caring became. When someone's emotional timing feels off, you're witnessing the lag time between their brain calculating the appropriate response and their heart having nothing to give. Sign 7. They treat your boundaries like suggestions. Kevin had asked his roommate Jason multiple times not to bring dates over on weeknights because Kevin worked early shifts. Jason would apologize, promise to respect this, then do it again the following week. But Jason never violated his boss's boundaries, never ignored his parents' requests, never dismissed his girlfriend's concerns. Jason had created a hierarchy of humans, and Kevin was at the bottom. When someone treats your boundaries like suggestions but respects everyone else's as law, they've categorized you as less than human. And that's exactly how strangers treat each other, with polite dismissal. Here's what's really happening, and why none of this is your fault. We're living through an unprecedented psychological phenomenon. Social media has rewired human brains to treat relationships like content consumption. People scroll through lives instead of living in them. They engage with surface-level emotion because depth requires sustained attention, and sustained attention doesn't exist anymore. The people around you haven't necessarily become bad people, they've become distracted people. Their capacity for deep connection has atrophied like a muscle that hasn't been used. They can still feel, but only in short bursts. They can still care, but only about immediate stimuli. You feel like a stranger to them because sustained human connection now feels foreign to their rewired brains. But here's the part they don't want you to understand. This isn't permanent damage. The human brain remains neuroplastic throughout life. These patterns can be interrupted, reversed, rewired, but only if you understand what you're dealing with, only if you can recognize the signs before they become permanent. Your first protection protocol. Stop expecting depth from people who've chosen surface. This doesn't mean giving up on them forever. It means adjusting your expectations to match their current capacity. Second, create connection boundaries. If someone treats you like a stranger, interact with them like one. Polite, cordial, but not emotionally invested. This isn't punishment, it's self-preservation. Find your emotional tribe. In a world of psychological strangers, the people who still connect deeply become precious. They're out there, feeling just as confused and isolated as you are. Remember, recognizing these patterns doesn't make you paranoid, it makes you aware. And awareness is the first step toward protecting yourself from people who've forgotten how to see you as human. The most important thing to understand is this. Their inability to connect with you says nothing about your worth and everything about their capacity. You haven't become less lovable. They've become less capable of love. This epidemic of emotional disconnection is creating a generation of people who feel fundamentally alone even when surrounded by others. But understanding these psychological patterns gives you back your power. You can't force someone to remember how to connect with you, but you can choose how much access they have to your emotional world. You can decide whether to keep trying to bridge a gap they keep widening, or whether to redirect that energy toward people who still remember how to build bridges themselves. The strangers around you were once capable of deeper connection. Some of them might remember how, given time and the right circumstances. Others have traveled too far down the path of psychological distance to find their way back. Your job isn't to save them from their emotional numbness. Your job is to save yourself from drowning while trying to revive people who've chosen to stop swimming. New Dark Psychology insights every week. Subscribe now and turn on notifications so you never miss what they don't want you to know. Stay aware, stay protected,